Hello. Hello. So, I wanted to make this video. First off, I hope you're doing very well. Sit back, relax. This is Nick's Ramble, ASMR, where I ramble to you about a lot of different things. But today's ramble is going to be about the new movie called Civil War. And it is directed and written by Alex Garland. And if you don't know what the movie's about, here it is. This is going to have a lot of spoilers. First off, so if you are going to watch it, maybe save this video for later and come back. I'm just going to do like a real friend-to-friend chat ramble about it. And if you're not going to see the movie, stick with me because you'll just hear me kind of give my 2 cents about this movie. I'll explain kind of what it's about. So the logline is it's a journey across a dystopian future America following a team of military-embedded journalists as they race against time to reach D.C. before rebel factions descend upon the White House. So the movie takes place in the future. I don't know when, but there's a civil war in America, and it's about basically we follow these journalists as they go from New York to D.C. in order to like have an interview with the president before he's basically, killed. Well, let's talk about who's in it. So we have Kirsten Dunst is in it, Wagner Moura, and Kaylee Spaney. I thought their acting was decent, but to be honest with you, sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable. My setup right now is literally absurd. I wish you guys can see it. It's like taking my whole room. I didn't like the movie. I'm just gonna put it there. I almost really despised this movie. And you know me, I usually love movies or I can find a reason to like them. I think what was difficult was this movie I saw. I have a letterbox, by the way. And maybe you guys, if you're interested, you should follow me on it. Actually, let me tell you what my letterbox is. So you can follow. My letterbox is, well, I don't know. If you're interested, let me know. But I had a friend on Letterboxd that rated it 4 stars. And this is a boy that I really admired. We went to film school. Well, he went to film school. I was in acting school, both at NYU together. And I've always really admired his taste in film. And so I saw that before I saw the movie. And I was like, oh, if he likes this, I'll find a way to like this. Nope. I rated it on my Letterboxd. So he rated it 4 stars. I rated it 1.5 stars. And I'll tell you kind of my thoughts. Let me know literally your thoughts if you've seen the movie. Let me know down below what you think. But basically, you know the whole premise is these journalists kind of going down to DC, and we aren't really told why the Civil War is happening. We basically live, it's a road trip. We basically are with them, and they go through these different towns, and they meet these different people, and they have these really close encounters with death and all this, and you kind of see the landscape of the Civil War. You see kind of how it's impacting everyone. And for what it was, I did enjoy it. I think it was different. It wasn't really predictable, but my main thing that I don't like about it is I feel like there's no redemption and there's no arcs. And I'm learning, and I'm grateful for this, I'm learning what Nick likes in films, because I want to write films, and seeing movies and like appreciating them, that's important. But I also think it's important to ask, like, would I make this film? And the answer for this is no. There wasn't any so there's, when I say that, there's no characters in the film where you are really surprised by what they do. I mean, at the end, the main character is Kirsten Dunst, and she basically starts off very shell-shocked, very numb. You can see in her facial expression she's like devoid of emotion and all that. And at the end, she ends up, spoiler, saving another girl's life. by standing in front of like a bullet for her. That's really cool. Also, the arc of that is really cool too, because like the beginning of the film, you know how she saves the young girl's life, and then she does it again. Well, I guess like the young girl saved her life because like, I don't know, but that was good and all, but there was nothing like surprising about these characters. Also, like, let me just read you what I wrote on my letterbox. I write this. If you don't have a letterbox is basically like Goodreads, which is an app that Goodreads is. If you don't know what Goodreads is, it's an app where you like review books, and your friends can follow you, and you like talk about books. Letterbox is the same for movies. So I wrote this last night because I watched the film last night with friends, and I wrote. I gave it 1.5 stars out of 5, and I said this. I said, I can appreciate the cinematography and the premise, but it's just not for me. It's so violent with no character redemptions, no nuanced thoughts and opinions, and honestly felt kind of unpatriotic / killing the president at the end just felt really wrong to me. That happened at the end, by the way. They killed the president of the United States. So it was just like, and being in the US and watching that, I'm just kind of like, why are we making art of murdering like our leader? I don't know. That's me. I'm not like super like, I'm not like right winged or anything. I'm very liberal. I'm very, very liberal. And even if you're right winged, that's totally cool. It was surprising how that brought that out of me, like very patriotic. It felt like a little tasteless in my mind. And I know this is an opinion, so throw yours down in the comments down below. But I really didn't like that. I'm just kind of like why are we triggering that emotion and that thought? I then wrote, this film lends itself to political talk on what would cause a civil war, but it didn't really address any of those, and I know the lens is through these reporters that, quote, let other people figure it out, unquote. I just found it triggering for war. We have enough of that in our current world. What does it add to the landscape? So I'm basically saying, like, this film is all about war. It is. Like, it's... Well, I'm going to keep reading that. I'll keep saying, but then I said, maybe the message is that we shouldn't numb ourselves to what we see in war. But I don't appreciate that we learn that through watching war and basically becoming numb to what we are watching. It goes against what the message is. So it contradicts. I think that's what I was saying. So it's a contradictory story, the method of the story and its message. Oh, so it contradicts the story, the method of the story, and its message. And for that, I just get annoyed. But mostly just this genre. Like, why was this even made? So this is just my taste. I have a lot of friends that really appreciate the film. I totally get that, but I realize for me, I don't. Nick doesn't like these films that feel like trauma porn. They are showing how bad war is and showing how bad all this stuff is, and I know maybe it's something I need to work on, but I just personally, I'm not a fan of that, because as an artist, as someone that makes films and wants to make films for more of my life, I think movies are meant to, and I said it here, they're meant to create nuanced thoughts and experiences for the audience. It's supposed to evoke feelings and get you to think about your life in different ways and to evoke change. But for me, I find I want art to be, for me normally, I want it to be more on the positive side or hopeful side. That's because life is really hard. As you probably know, the world we live in is very difficult, and I don't think movies are necessarily supposed to depict reality. I think movies are supposed to actually create hope or create nuance or create thoughts, to engage the viewers in a new type of lens, give them empathy for something that they aren't going through, to give them a perspective on their own lives. Think about that. Maybe you're having a crappy day, you go to a movie, you get to be someone for 2 hours, and that's just incredible, because it pulls you away from your life, and it can make you appreciate your life, your worries. The thing I have a problem with this film is it's Civil War. There's a war going on. We don't know why it's really occurring, which is fine, because the lens of it is the reporters, and they literally say in the film, they go like, we're just reporters, like photography reporters, like war reporters. We capture it so everyone else can figure out what to do with it. I get that, but this type of movie lends itself to being political. It is literally made to be a political movie, because, you know, the questions that rise are like, you know, when you go into this film, you're like, ooh, what would cause a civil war? Are they just for fighting? Like, which side is best? Like, those are things that you want to ask and get answered, right? They don't do that. And then also with Civil War, it's just ruthless violence. And this is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to, you know, I'm very open with you guys on the channel. There's a lot of triggering elements in it, and I think for me, I got triggered on some points because of personal stuff, with the violence and warfare, and it pulled me out of it. And I think that's why I'm very strongly about it, because I know people in my life that have gone through really rough things, and along those lines, and for it to be used so nonchalantly in this movie agitates me a lot. I don't think it's okay to show that. I don't think you should. I think you're meant to protect your viewers, the audience, from that harsh reality. And I get it, if the harsh reality is part of the message, right? If it's like war is terrible, the reason I despise this movie is because the entire movie, it is terrible, everything they're doing, but they're doing it constantly, that you become numb to it, you become used to it, you become used to the violence, and that totally contradicts their message of being like, look what could happen, like violence is bad, because by the end of it, you're numb to it. You're numb to the shooting and to the fighting and then to the death. And that's why I don't like it. That's what I'm saying about method. Like, method for me, this is all like Nick terminology, but the method is like the way that the film is, you know, so we have the story, we have the premise, what is the movie about, and then the method is like how the movie's actually made to show that. You know, the way they showed the idea that, you know, killing is bad, they totally contradicted themselves, because the method of it was, they're like, we're just gonna show a lot of violence, and by doing that, they numbed us out, which was, I think their goal was to do the opposite, was to be like, look at what's bad, like, don't be numb to this. I also am aware that maybe it just didn't resonate with me. I left the film not feeling connected, and maybe I missed something. If there's like more of a deeper message, let me know. But I didn't like how careless they were with some of the violence and some of the triggering aspects, and it didn't feel like it served anything. Like, for me, it didn't. I feel like moviegoers, like us, when we go to theaters, your imagination can be the most powerful thing, and that's why I think for horror films, usually the scariest stuff is not like what you see on screen. It's like the tension, it's the, you know, you imagining it, it's like you hearing a noise but not seeing it, or being told about something and not seeing it. Like, I think that is more powerful to connect with the audience than visual, like, trauma. And that's just me. This is my opinions. I would love to know yours. I just felt, I will give them this, they did something very right, because I felt very intense about my decision about this film, and I think that's a really great thing. I think that means that a film's doing a really great thing. If you're indifferent about a film, it means it didn't push a certain way. This film pushed away a certain way, it just didn't resonate with me. I didn't like it. I would not make a movie like this. You start not feeling so great, and you leave feeling totally hopeless and kind of like, what the F was that about? I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. I thought the acting was good. Directing was good too. Like, for what it was well done. I just didn't like it. I just didn't. It just didn't. It wasn't for me. And maybe I wasn't the audience. That is me. I am very aware. Yeah, it's just not for me. Like, I'm very aware war is bad. I'm very aware that all this is terrible. I'm very aware that we're numb to war, and as a society, I'm very aware of that. I know that I also am maybe part of the problem. I don't, watch the news all the time, but my generation, we grew up with, like, my parents watch the news all the time, and we're desensitized to it. And if you're always worrying, this is gonna sound terrible, but if you're always worrying about the, everything around you, if you're always being exposed to these terrible things, you're gonna think the world is terrible, and there's always terrible things that are occurring, but no one ever focuses on the good things. And like, you're safe right now. And sometimes it's good to localize your news intake, what's happening actually around you that you can impact, versus just feeling stressed and anxious about the world around you. I'm hyper aware that we have that problem as a society, and I like that this movie touches on that. I do. I just didn't like the way it went about it. I thought it was a little careless, and yeah. But they won in the fact that they chose a way to do it, and they were very intentional about maybe being reckless in that sense. I think it's a good thing I feel this about this movie, not like that I feel about this movie, but that I feel passionate enough about this movie to talk about it, right? So they did good. The director, he did other stuff like Ex Machina and other stuff as well. I just wanted to make this video on here. I know it's not the most relaxing, but I know a lot of you enjoy talking about movies, and I love hearing people's opinions. So please, if you've made it this far, leave a clacker movie like symbol, like the clacker, clack clack. And also just leave your comments down below. Like, did you watch this movie, or do you want to? And like, what are your thoughts after I said all this? Do you disagree? Feel free. Just be respectful. Remember, like, I'm not saying this is just my thoughts on this film. It doesn't mean that if you loved it, doesn't mean like your thoughts are less valid at all. Like, go for you. I'm glad you liked it. Just for me, it wasn't for me. Which is good, because now I'm leaning towards what I really like. You know what movie I really like? I love The Help. I saw The Help again recently. It was so good. Makes you feel. I love movies that make you laugh and cry and feel like all these different types of emotions. This movie didn't do that. This movie was just one tone. I felt no connection. I didn't care about anyone. I didn't. I just knew they were all going to probably face some gnarly thing at the end. So I don't know if that's the writing. I don't know if that's the story. It just wasn't. It wasn't full. It didn't feel full to me. It just felt very flat. But that's all I gotta say. So if you like this, please like this video, subscribe, join our membership program. It's the first link down below. It's the best way to support me in this channel. It means the world. All your donations literally go to this channel. That's how I got this camera. That's how I got this microphone. So if you love this channel and you're like, I really want to support Nick, please do that. I utterly love every single one of you that does. I think about you guys. I pray for you. I send really good. You mean a lot. So thank you. And thank you for being here in general. If no one's told you, you are amazing. You are phenomenal. Be easy on yourself. You're doing great stuff. And I'll see you soon, my friend. Okay.